Michelle. How you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. Hey, everybody, I would again, my name is Andrew Michael. I have a special guest today, Michelle Moss. How are you doing, Michelle?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. How are you?
My pleasure. I'm doing well, thank you. Now, Michelle is a realtor in Indian River County. So that's Vero Beach. Where exactly in the state of Florida are you?
So if everybody kind of knows where West Palm Beach is, and we are about an hour and change north of West Palm Beach. If you know where Melbourne is, we are about half an hour to 45 minutes south of Melbourne. We are right on the west coast, the east coast, kind of smack in the middle.
Okay. So you're about smack in the middle of the state. You're on the ocean. You're on the Atlantic Ocean.
Yep, and the intercoastal.
And the intercoastal. There you go. Okay. And I am, if those of you who don't know me or are new to the channel, my name is Andrew Michael. I am in St. Johns County, Florida, up in the Jacksonville. So I am about as far north as you can go until you get into Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
So this video, what we're going to do today is we're just going to talk about the differences between the two communities, who this video is mainly for. And by the way, if you're watching, do me a favor, throw a comment down below and just kind of let us know like where you are. I'm always kind of curious. We had wasn't last week, the week before, we had somebody in Ireland who was watching our videos. So,
cool.
Living in Nocatee is what he's interested in. So
okay.
But yeah, definitely. If you're, there we go. Let me get over the comments. Okay, I got that there. So yeah, if you're watching, definitely feel free to throw a comment there. We'd love to see where you are. And if you do it on Instagram, I will see it afterwards, and I will go ahead and I'll respond later. But Michelle, all right. So we're going to talk about the differences between living in Indian River County versus St. Johns County. And one of the big things that jumped out at me, and it actually did kind of surprise me, is the cost of housing.
Yes.
So go ahead. You got some stats for us, I believe.
Yes. So we pulled the stats, and in 2024, the average cost of our market for a single family home was $379,000 for Indian River County. We pulled yours, and it was $504,000.
Okay.
So.
Let's see here. So the first one that I want to show, this is actually one of, give me 1 second here. Okay. So can you see the house 1161 Coverbrook Lane?
I can't.
Oh, you cannot? Okay. Well, let me see. Well, why can't we? Should be here. There we go. Oh, that's why. There you go.
Okay, so, yep, that's it.
All right. So here I am. I've got it up. There's a reason I'm pulling this house specifically. Now, this house sold, but you're getting ready to put it back on the market this week,
yes.
Correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'm going to kind of look through the photos a little bit. How much is this house going to be listed for?
$385,000.
Okay. So it is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,676 heated square feet, built in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
And it has, I mean, this is the kind, do you remember who the builder is?
Yeah, Miranda Homes.
Oh, is it concrete block?
Absolutely.
Okay. That's one thing here. Most of our homes are not concrete block here.
Oh, I'd say we're about, right now, the newer homes, it's 100%, but on the rest of our older ones, we're about half and half. So that is now a screened-in pool. Okay,
so this right here is a screened-in pool.
Yep.
All right. Now let me just take you over to a different listing that I'm about to put on the market. And I'm just going to kind of show the difference between the housing market, the reason why I'm doing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. There we go. All right. So this is one I just sold last week. It looks similar.
Yep.
3-bedroom, 2-bath, about 100 square feet smaller, give or take. This one sold for $386,500. Now there are some differences. This is in a 55+ community, age restricted community. It is gated. However, you can't tell from the photos, but the backyard is literally 10 feet. And needless to say, there is no swimming pool.
Right.
So, and both of these homes, by the way, are about 12 to 15 minutes to the beach.
Yep.
So they're both the same distance, and that's a big driver, I think, in either of our markets. The closer to the ocean you are, typically, the more. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the two homes are about the same size. They look very similar.
Very similar, yeah.
Yours is concrete block.
Yes.
Mine has a 10-foot backyard and no swimming pool. Yours has a swimming pool, and they're going to sell for around the same amount.
Mm-hmm.
So usually a swimming pool at about $50,000, $60,000, depending on the pool.
Yeah.
it could go way up from there, obviously.
It can, yes. This one was put in 2024. So
Okay.
it was just last year's pool. So yeah, our pool homes range from, a little bit lower than that, depending on the condition of the house, to they can go into the fives, depending on, again, the size of the house. Yeah.
Yeah, ours can go way up.
Technically we can go into the millions, but yeah, on your average house. Yeah.
No, for sure. Same here. But just the point is, like, that's why I like using this, because we were talking about, and it surprised me. I would have figured that you are more expensive market, but you're not. We definitely are more expensive than you are for the same thing. And yeah, that's why I found these two homes, because we both have them listed. They're both very similar, except yours has a pool and a big yard. So if it didn't have the pool, what would you subtract?
So that particular house, probably the pool in this instance is not a big push, but it would probably go in the 340 range. The new construction for that size house is around a 340, 350, depending. They've kind of slid down. Some of them were much higher before. So in the last few months, we've been seeing a little downtick in some of those prices.
Okay. So. Now, one difference you and I didn't talk about before the video, but it just came out, and I think yours is more typical for the state of Florida than mine is, especially for coastal areas, is that your homes, single-family homes in this price range, they're almost all concrete block, correct?
Almost all, yeah. For the newer houses, yes. Anything built since 2005, I think you're going to find mostly concrete.
I would have thought in the 90s when Andrew came.
Yeah, it might even be that. No, we still have houses that are 90s that are frame.
Okay.
So, yeah, not as many, but yeah, so.
In our neck of the woods, now my home is concrete block that I'm in right now.
So is mine, yeah.
But ours, that is kind of unusual in our market, especially the master plan community, some things we're going to talk about. I'm not saying they don't exist. There's a few, but they're not the norm. And most of the new construction homes they're building now have like the green board, and then it's got
like the Hardy Plank.
Hardy Plank, there you go. It's got Hardy Plank or one of those type brands, and so that's what they do with it. But yours are actually poured concrete block, right? About
90%, maybe 95% are. Miranda has a new line that they're building that are frame, but I would say majority, like 95%, are now block for brand new houses.
That may be too, because we are much less hurricane prone up here.
We're not bad.
We haven't had a direct. I did a YouTube video on that a while ago. We haven't had a direct hit from a hurricane. I think it was Hurricane Doris in the 60s.
So our last direct hit was in 2004, and we had two back-to-back. And that was that caused us to lose power for a couple of weeks. We didn't see the devastation that you would see from like Naples or anything like that. We lost some roofs, a lot of roofs. We have no power, but not a whole lot of total home loss like you see in some of the other areas. But that's our last major one. Now, the hurricane that just came, Milton, hit us with tornadoes and did a significant amount of damage. But even still.
I looked it up. Yeah, the last time we got a direct hit from a hurricane was 1964. It was Hurricane Dora. I stand corrected.
Wow.
And I mean, I've lived here for over 10 years. And in that time, we've had like one that went over, and it was funny because I turned off my sprinklers because I assumed the hurricane actually made landfall on the West Coast and it came here.
Yeah, it came across the state. Yeah.
It was supposed to be a tropical storm, and I ended up having to turn my sprinklers back on because we weren't getting enough water for the grass. The thing is too, like, again, St. Augustine, which is in St. Johns County, is the oldest continuous city in the United States.
Yeah.
And so whenever you see like on the Weather Channel, like, oh, there's flooding or there's this or that. Well, yeah, but it's probably the historic district or it's the really old areas. It's not where most people actually live. Like,
right.
I'm trying to remember the name of the neighborhood. I'll remember it later. But anyway, it's right over the bridge of Lions from the historic district.
Uh-huh.
They had a lot of flooding, but when they built those houses, like in the 80s, they didn't build them out of the flood zone. So when Matthew came, they got flooded and they had some issues.
Yeah.
But like houses like my neighborhood and like most like any of your somewhat modern homes, I mean, they're,
right.
And
We get moderate flooding. The streets can flood. Milton, this last one, did cause some significant flooding, but that was an astronomical amount of rain. But it's gone the next day. So it's just rain flooding. It's not storm surge. It's not that damaging, in and out of the storm surge. It's just literally flooding from rain. So yeah, the lower lying houses, the ones that weren't built in the last 20 years, the ones that are, legacy homes that are, we have a few that are in the early 1900s. Those are the ones that you'll see some flooding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, very good. All right. So we talked about flooding. We talked about cost of housing, and hands down, your market's more affordable than mine is.
Right.
One of the other things that kind of struck me out too is the style. Well, actually, before we get into that, let's talk about like seasonality. Like you've said that your whole county, basically the population, and if I'm wrong, correct me, it explodes during certain times of the year. Tell me about that.
So from this, the peak time is January to April, end of April, beginning of May. We're a heavy snowbird population, and it's not just limited to the island or the coastal pieces, although it's significant there. It's all sorts of communities. So we do have a significant. I think if I was guessing, I'd say the population increases of maybe about a little less than a third. So yeah, it's funny. You'll see them when they all leave. The houses are all their hurricane shutters up, and so yeah, we have a large seasonal population. Our total population is only 179,000, I think it was, for the whole county.
Yeah, in St. Johns County, you'll get some of that along the beaches. Because there's a lot of short-term rentals or seasonal rentals, but you have a lot of condo complexes, and you go down to Flagler County, like European Village. You have a lot of them that are set up for short-term or seasonal rentals. Yeah, but most of us don't really live there. I mean, some people do for sure, and if you can live there, it's great. But during those times of year, it'd be busy. But where I think most locals, once you live here, where you see the seasonal traffic would be like in the historic district of St. Augustine. Because we have Night of Lights. Have you ever been to it before?
Yep.
It's amazing. The whole town is covered in white Christmas lights.
Yep.
And definitely, if you can do it too, definitely see it from the water. It's a lot of fun. But okay, traffic is crazy during that, and that probably runs November to like maybe January.
Right.
But other than that, but to the locals, like we just don't go to the historic district during that time, unless you're just going for like the Christmas parade or you're going.
Someone's coming into town and you're taking them. Yeah.
No one really lives there. I mean, not too many people really. I mean, there are a few people, yes, who live in the historic area, but it's not where the majority of us live. Most of us live outside of there, and so it doesn't really even affect us.
Right. I think St. Johns County is much more suburban than us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Whereas we are not a bedroom community or anything for a major center. We are at least an hour from a major center in each direction. So we are really much more isolated. We're a very small town, old Florida feel, beach cottages and things like that. Our zoning does not allow for anything over a 5-story building. So we will never have high rises. And we have one set because they were being built when they passed the law, so they were grandfathered in. So we don't have that. We also have a very large amount of natural preservation land, county trusts and things like that. So we have a lot of green space.
That's one thing here. Okay, well, you threw out a real estate term. I just want to clarify, just so people viewing know. You mentioned a bedroom community. Can you explain what that is?
So we're not close enough to a major city that somebody who worked in that major city would live in this community and go there. So there's some that do, but for the most part, we're too far. It's too much of a drive for someone to commute. So that's what you call it, a bedroom community, because you work in one city, but you come to bed in another. You go home and go to bed in another. So we're not one of those. We are surrounded by small town. I mean, we really are kind of small. We're one of the smallest on the eastern seaboard of Florida.
And in St. Johns County, Florida, we absolutely are a bedroom community all day long for Jacksonville. So a lot of people, it's funny, like if you did an open house in my neighborhood, or if you hung out with me when I'm doing one, it's a lot of, depending on the neighborhood, obviously, but if they're local, a lot of them are coming from Jacksonville, like Bartram or the beaches or places like that, because they lived there when they were young and trendy and everything's cool. but now they have kids and they're thinking
Yeah.
schools and they're looking at, family type things, which,
Yeah.
whatever. But that's a large part of who comes in, like my neighborhood, for instance.
Yeah.
If they're local.
We have a couple of big employers, and then I think we just have a large percentage of people who either work from home. My husband's one of them, so we live here because he works from home. He works for a massive company, but he works from home. So we do have a percentage of those people who can live in this area because they don't have to commute for work. And then, of course, with a significant number of people who are here for a season, makes a big difference. I think they want to say 12% of our population is between the ages of 5 and 19. That's only 12%. I think there's a much bigger percentage when we're talking about over 55.
Yep. Now, okay, let's go into that. So one of the things that's different is too here is we have the master plan communities. Where your area doesn't have that. So tell us a little bit about your area and how the communities are kind of set up.
So we have, depending on the town, Sebastian is actually bigger than Vero Beach, population-wise and space-wise. But you wouldn't know it because Vero Beach itself is a smaller part of the city of Vero Beach versus the wider outside areas. So Sebastian has, I think, maybe 2 or 3 HOA, maybe 5 HOA communities, and that's it. The rest is all suburban or residential, but not HOA. If you come to Vero Beach, we have a larger number of gated communities and HOA communities, and slightly less houses that are outside of an HOA. But we don't have any of the planned communities where you have the tradition down in Port St. Lucie or yours up there, where you have the town and it's got town square and you've got groceries and shopping and everything and doctor's offices, everything can happen right in that area. We don't have that. I don't think we have any of them, to tell you the honest truth. We have a couple of, I think we have 2 single family home districts or communities that are 55 and over, maybe 3, and a couple of condo communities that are 55 and over, but the majority is not. It's just regular street in Sebastian, definitely regular residential neighborhoods with no HOAs.
Okay. So the majority of yours then, would you say the majority or a lot of them don't have any HOAs or? So
Sebastian, I would say the majority is not. Vero Beach, I'd probably say maybe half and half.
Okay.
So, but not a lot of gated. You can have some informal, less formal, like $30 a year or $30 a month. So basically keeping your house clean, but not the gated and all that other stuff.
Cool. Well, I'm going to show you too, when I say master plan community for our viewers, because if they're interested in they may not be familiar with the concept. So I'm just going to throw something up here on the screen real quick. All right. So I'm on, this is Nocatee. It's a large, master plan community. And if you look at it, so over here is 20 Mile. And I'm just going to talk about this because I'm going to be doing a video about that tomorrow. But these are all the communities here. The broccoli looking stuff is green space. And you can see all these neighborhoods here. And then if you come down over here, and by the way, the website I'm using, if you're interested in it for people, our viewers, is explorenocatee.com. Let me just find her here. Here's the shopping.
Yeah, I know.
That's not up. So you've got all the shopping right here. You've got all your day-to-day stuff. They won't let an Apple store or a Tesla dealership or a Best Buy, something that'll bring people in. They won't do that. But what they will do is the service to people who live there. So your dry cleaning, your restaurants, all schools, VPK through 8th grade are there. Your child doesn't have to leave until 9th grade. And they have everything and again, they have 3-story water slides and zip lines that all the communities share. And there's 355 plus communities within all the other ones. So the majority of them, but you don't have that type of thing there, correct?
No, we have 2 or 3 pretty main corridors through Vero Beach. We have US 1, we have Route 60, which it connects US 1 and I-95 and of course the ocean. So we have those corridors, and then along the ocean we have A1A. Those are where the majority of the commerce is centered. So outside of that, you have little pockets, but we don't have any of those planned kind of communities where it's where we have things located in a community. The closest we get, actually, we've got some communities where they have different, like most of ours would be like golf course communities that would do that, but they have no shopping. They have a lot of amenities, but no shopping.
Yeah, we have the golf course community stuff too. It's not as common as in Fort Lauderdale. And I'm actually originally a long time ago from down there.
Right.
But like West Palm Beach, Palm Beach County, there's a lot of.
Oh, guys, there's the PGA one. Yeah, we have 1, 2, 3, about 5, I think, that are specifically golf course communities. 5, maybe a little bit more when we get to the island side. But yeah, we have the ones that are on the island are in the higher price point. Then we have a median price point when we get to the mainland. And there are some like Grand Harbor, for instance, where it's got condos and townhouses and single family homes and waterfront and golf course like front. So there's you can pick your poison in that one. It's got beautiful tennis, lots of amenities, beautiful golf club, gorgeous courses. So we have those kinds of communities, similar to like the PGA or something in Port St. Lucie or down in West Palm Beach. But we have probably only about, I can think of 3 or 4 on the mainland and about 4 on the island. So that's the closest we get to anything that's being planned.
Okay. Now, and we have the golfing communities too, like Ponte Vedra Beach and all the fact that TPC and all that kind of stuff all there, that we have that too. One thing that I didn't mention is, and it's not super common here, but we do have it, is the west part of St. Johns County tends to be a little bit more rural as you're getting away from the beach.
Yes.
Especially if you go southwest. So if you're looking for that 1 acre lot or you're looking for something like that, we have like Hastings, Elkton, all those kinds of places. You're going to get it less expensive down there. And it's a lot of old potato farms. I think it's potato farms. There's a lot of other stuff they grow down there too. And it still is pretty agricultural, actually.
Right.
But in any case, where a lot of those old farms are, you can get like a 1 acre yard, or you can get and there's no HOA for the most part in most of those communities. We do have that here, but it's not the norm.
We have the same. Indian River County was obviously known for years for its citrus. And unfortunately, citrus greening hit us pretty hard. So there's large parcels that are closer to town that have had to tear up their groves. So we have those. We have a significant amount of horse community farther out west. And then, of course, you go even farther out, and we've got Blue Cypress Lake is still Indian River County, and that is a little boating community on this big lake. So we still have like little Fellsmere is very agricultural, and it's very, very agricultural. It's right outside of a huge agricultural, a commercial agricultural property. And so you'll find that there are bigger lots in there. You can get to 4 or 5. There's you can get 5 acres of land for $200,000. So that's in Fellsmere or just outside of Fellsmere itself. You can get it a little bit less the farther out you go, but those bigger parcels you're still going to pay a little bit for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have that stuff here too. But cool. Yeah. All right. And so what else do we got?
Let me see. Well, I think you guys probably have more tourist attraction than we do. We have beautiful beaches like you do. Ours are free to park, and ours have lifeguards on every one of them.
Can you drive on your beach?
No.
See, that is one of my favorite things to do. So, like, it was not last weekend, but the weekend before last, something like that. My family was getting over some sickness kind of stuff, and we probably weren't contagious anymore, but just kind of worn out. So we just threw a bunch of stuff in the F-150. I have 4-wheel drive. Took it out Porpoise Point, drove right out onto the sand, just drank our coffee, ate our donuts, and just looked out at the ocean and just sat there, and it was fun. It was fun to do that. We have parking where you are literally, you could walk 10 steps and you're in the beach.
We're very, very, very family friendly when it comes to that. We have, I think a lot of our bigger beaches have, like changing rooms and showers and all that stuff. Yeah. But I mean, people are always amazed when they come from down south, like your beaches aren't crowded and you don't have to pay to park. And yeah, I'm like, no, you really don't. You don't have to pay to launch a boat. for the most part. We have several boat launches. Because we have the Indian River and we have the ocean. We have several different little areas. Now we have the Sebastian Inlet, which is right around Sebastian, obviously, coincidentally. And it's a really shallow cove. It's an inlet that goes between the Indian River and the ocean. And there's these sandbar areas that are kind of buried in there. And there's tons of times in the summer when you see everybody, like there's like 50, 60 boats all basically anchored there, and people are literally walking from boat to boat because in the right tide, you're only like waist deep. So in that particular area. So there's things like that. It's really a whole lot. It's a small town-ish feel.
So we don't pay anything. I don't think we pay. Unfortunately, I don't have a boat. And if I did, I wouldn't have time to use it. But I don't think we pay, because I know when I put in my kayaks and stuff, and there's people putting in boats, I've never seen them pay anything. To drive on the beach, we do have a fee. I don't have to pay it because I have I'm a veteran and have disability for that. But anyway, yeah. So to drive on the beach, there is a slight charge during certain times of the year, but not always. But
we have a lot of different areas to fish. We are known as a fishing area, especially Sebastian. In fact, I think they even say it's a fishing town with a drinking problem. Or a drinking town with a fishing problem, one or the other. But yeah, it's definitely known for its fishing. And there's several different places to launch small boats, large boats. And then we have towards the very western parts of the county, we have marsh fishing. So lots of flat water, airboat rides, things like that.
Yeah, we have, so here on the west side of the county, we have the St. Johns River, which is a large natural river. And then we have the intracoastal, just like you do. But I'll tell you what, the intracoastal here is different than where I'm from in Fort Lauderdale, because where I'm from originally, the intracoastal really isn't very rural. It's got like big $1 million mansions and all this and that. Yeah. Where here, it's very primitive, very rural. A lot of it is set aside. But yeah, you can launch your kayak in Nocatee. It's a public kayak or canoe or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, there's no buildings, there's no nothing out there. You're just nature.
Yeah, we have a bunch of sections like that. We have the Environmental Learning Center, which actually does boat tours through some of these areas. I think that there's an area where you can see the biophosphorescence. And then we have the San Sebastian River, which leads from the Indian River all the way in through Sebastian, and it's known for kayaking and birding. So very quiet, very, very quiet. So you'd see a lot of wildlife in there, and it launches right from like practically the middle of Sebastian and just kind of float down. The other thing Sebastian's known for is skydiving. There's a very big skydiving school there. And it's any given day, you can see 20, 40, 60, people jumping out of planes constantly. So it's really known for that particular area. So that's the municipal airport over in Sebastian.
All right. So just to kind of, on real estate stuff, I think we could both agree that your market's definitely less expensive than mine. We definitely established that.
Yes and no. We do have a very high-end market as well.
Oh yeah. We do too. But if you're looking for like the same thing, it's probably going to run you.
A single-family home is likely a little less expensive here. Yes, because I think we're just a little smaller. Our taxes are a little lower though. I think our taxes
I'd have to check millage rates. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we're one of the lowest on the eastern seaboard for Florida.
For us, it depends because the vast majority of St. Johns County is unincorporated. So like if you go into the city of Jacksonville or if you go into the city of St. Augustine, your taxes go way up. I actually did a video on that too. Like I showed like two $500,000 or $600,000 houses and and it actually was a couple grand difference.
Yeah.
All right. But okay. And then the other thing is, your communities are more either no HOA or there is an HOA, but you don't really have as much, or you don't have like the master plan, which is very common here.
Yeah. No, we don't have any of those. No, we're very low key.
And you're definitely more of like a smaller town feel where we're more of like a suburban bedroom community of Jacksonville. Yeah,
we're definitely much more of a small town feel. We were a very well kept secret until COVID. So our prices went sky high for us post-COVID or right during COVID. We saw significant increases. So we were undervalued for a large part of it because you could take, like you said, one of our homes and match it with somebody else in some of the other areas, and we were significantly lower. That got balanced out with COVID, but we're still a little less expensive.
Yeah, I would. Yeah. And everywhere in Florida that I'm aware of had huge price surges with COVID. That was nuts.
Crazy.
I remember doing listing appointments during all that. It's like, well, I mean, this is how I'm trained to tell you what your house is worth, but I don't know. Some dude from California.
Yeah, I don't know.
200 grand more.
What it is today is not what it is tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's almost like trading cryptocurrency or something. It's like,
or
just
like,
yep.
And do I have a bid? I have a higher bid. Yeah. So no, I'd say we were definitely much more small town. That's the way people want it. They want it to stay smaller town. We have a lot of people who've come up from the south, from Miami region or anywhere south of West Palm, looking for something more quiet, and they've chosen here in a lot of cases.
There you go. Okay, so I think the purpose of this video is to kind of showcase, if people are looking to relocate to Florida and they're considering Indian River versus St. Johns County.
Yeah,
I do believe one other thing we didn't talk about. I want to say that St. Johns County we're the second highest rated school district in the state. I want to say.
Yeah, I did read that you guys were higher. You guys have a much larger population of kids than we do.
Yeah, that we do. Yeah. Cool. All right. Yeah. But okay. So I think this was a good video, and it's a purpose just to kind of showcase the differences between the two.
Absolutely.
And cool. Last question I always like to ask anyone to know, what is the closest you have ever come to being famous?
Okay, we like to say infamous, really. So I was a nurse before I became a real estate agent, and I was a transplant coordinator in New York City. And I had a bad experience with a surgeon who was not the most conscientious, and he had a patient that didn't make it, and he basically lied. Didn't make it through his fault. And he kind of skewed the story, and I was approached by a major news network, and I did a segment on the truth at the top of the 6 o'clock news in New York City, and caused them to shut off all the TVs in the hospital. And it was an 8-minute segment. So if you know anything about New York City, an 8-minute segment for anything at the 6 o'clock news is a lot. So
yeah, 6 o'clock news in New York City. That's pretty national. So there you go.
Yeah. So that's the closest. I would probably say infamous, but you know what? I believe in telling the truth. So
well, infamous, famous, I don't know.
Very fine line.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's one of the more interesting instances I've had on here. So usually it's something like, I don't know, I met the president or whatever. But yeah, that's a good one. All right. Well, thank you very much. And by the way, if you're interested in relocating to Indian River County, I'm going to have Michelle's info down below. So definitely feel free to reach out, and I'll have my information down below. And Michelle, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Andrew. And it's been a pleasure.
All right. Hang on a second.
Yep.
Yeah.